As teenagers, it's okay to build healthy relationships, friendships, and learn how to relate with people. But we should be careful not to rush into immoral friendships, relationships that would drain us mentally and emotionally. Welcome back to Teenage Circle, and today's topic is about dating as a teenager. Let's be very honest. I know this is something teenagers really want to talk about because they think about this, they want to experience it because of social media, friends, or wanting to feel loved or understood. I believe teenage years are more for learning, understanding, communication, respect, and boundaries, not rushing into immoral relationships or relationships where you are being taught things that are not good for your health, your mental health, and your physical well being. This is not me saying teenagers cannot be friends with the opposite sex or have emotional relationships. No, friendships are important because they help us understand relationships better as we grow as teenagers. As a young adult in my 20s, I realized that some friendships that I have kept in my teenage days are actually good, and some of them I had to let go. And I've also realized that it is not every relationship or friendship from my teenage days that can carry me on. Friendships and relationships are very important. And as a teenager, you need to build your friendship circle rightfully. If you don't understand something, if you don't understand how you are feeling, and you don't know who to talk to, kindly speak to somebody who you know you are comfortable with. I advise you speak to your parents, especially the parents you are more comfortable with. Maybe you are comfortable with mommy more or you're comfortable with daddy more. I advise you speak with them because they will understand you better. Daddy and mommy, if a teenager comes to you telling you about how they are feeling, how they are thinking, and you think you are not in the right place to advise them, or your advice is going to scare them away, or maybe you would say something they might not understand, I advise you tell someone you know can respect the boundaries of your teenage child, or you find somebody that the teenage child is comfortable around with, maybe an auntie or a friend they can trust. Then you tell the friend that, oh, this is what my darling child is telling me. This is what they are going through at this phase of their life. I need you to advise them so that they do not fall into the trap of immoral activities. As a young adult who has been there, I always tell my mommy anything I feel. If I feel what I am feeling is not making sense or I do not understand that, I go straight to my mommy and tell her everything. Mothers, I understand you have a big heart for every child, boy or girl. Kindly make a space where your children, your teenagers are comfortable around you to talk about everything, because this is the phase where we misunderstand ourselves, we misunderstand what we are feeling, we misunderstand what we see, and at times because we find comfort around our friends, we tend to listen to them more because you guys at times scare us. I remember there were days where I cannot discuss something with my mom because of maybe something she said when I told her something, and I felt like, okay, maybe if I go back again she's going to say something. Then I keep it to myself and I go and ask a friend, and all of that led me to doing things I didn't feel proud of. And yes, I came back and I told my mom. I am a child that loves to tell my parents everything. Young teenagers, kindly be honest with your parents. Do not be a liar. If it is white, tell your mommy it is white. If it is black, tell your mommy it is black. Because as teenagers, we tend to move more with emotions and our feelings. As I mentioned, at this phase, we are mostly misunderstood. At this phase, we think we are the top. At this phase, we think we are the boss. We think we know it all. But no, we are still growing. This is a phase where we are growing into a young adult before we turn into an adult. There's nothing wrong in wanting love or being loved by the opposite sex. But as a young adult and a big sister, I will not advise you to start an immoral relationship right now. You need to grow first mentally, emotionally, financially before you understand all of these things. Yes, there are stories on social media where young teenagers fell in love and then got married in their early 20s. I want you to understand that some of these stories, their parents were in the background, guiding them, directing them, and helping them. If you come from a home where everything is not smooth, I advise you take your studies seriously. Build friendships. Try to make friends. Any friend you come in contact with that is new, try to have a conversation about that friend with your parent or a guardian, because they will understand. And parents, please do not push us away. This is the phase where we think we know all, and you as our parent, you have been there. So when we come to you with a conversation, kindly give us a listening ear, because we are in a world where Everything is on the social media, and your teenage child can just go online and search for an advice and then they will get it. It is better they hear it from you who has had experiences. There are some things my parents have advised me on, and I really love it because the advice was coming from a place of experience, not a write up on social media or not somebody on social media telling me. As a young adult figuring life myself, I will tell you, my darling teenagers, I find pride in going back to elderly ones like my parents, people who are around me who are older than me. I find pride in going back to them, asking them for advice, because what I hear them say is different from what I see on social media. Honestly, there are some things you read on social media, you feel good, but then when you ask somebody who has been through the same thing, somebody you are comfortable with, and they give you the real advice from their experience, you realize that there is a difference between what you've read and what you have heard. So, parents, kindly give your teenage children a listening ear. Please, if you know you cannot advise them properly, you know you cannot give them the time, the space, find somebody who you know you can trust as a parent. Please do not entrust your child into anybody's hand thinking the person cannot do anything to your child or harm your child. No. If possible, be around anytime the child is seeking advice or is around that person. I do not advise allowing your teenage children or children being around people because you trust them. No. Trust people, but protect and shield your children, because this is a phase where they are learning, they are curious. This is a phase where a lot is happening. And right now, because of social media and how far we have come as human beings, there is a lot of things that the children are open to. They have phones, they have mediums, they can do a lot of things. So I advise that anytime they go out by themselves or they are with someone they are comfortable with, do not feel comfortable being at home without calling and checking in on them and finding out how far. And children, be honest with your parents. I will say this over and over again. As a young adult myself, I speak to my parents literally every day, not because they have time for me or I have time, no, but because it is the right thing to do. They are in a different region, I am in a different region. They need to know what I am up to, whether I am fine. I also need to know whether they are well or not. My darling teenagers, kindly feel comfortable at this age to communicate with your parents, and parents, give them space, because the rate at which teenagers are falling into the trap of the enemy, all these things are traps from the enemy to kidnap and hijack the destinies of these young teenagers. Teenagers, the Bible instructs us that to keep good companies. Bad companies ruin good characters. So please, if your parents are telling you not to work with this person, look beyond what you are feeling, your emotions and your thoughts, and decide not to work with that person. They know what they have seen. There were times when my daddy told me not to work with somebody. I felt bad as a teenager because I thought I knew it all. I thought I loved this person. I thought this person was nice and kind. But as I grew up as a young adult, I realized exactly the reason why my daddy did not want me to be friends with that person. Teenagers, as your big sister, I advise you stay away from immoral relationships. Be friends with the opposite sex. Be friends with everyone. Build relationships, because this is the time where you grow as a person, you grow into a young adult, and you figure yourself out. This is the time where you find out what you are interested in as a person, and also you find out what you want to do in life. So please be careful with your friendships, your relationships, because they will determine what you become as a young adult. Thank you for watching this video. Kindly subscribe, like, and share. Share to your parents, share to a friend who needs to hear this. Thank you.